The death of Hugo Chavez has thrown Venezuela into a great deal of instability and uncertainty. While his death was anticipated, the actual moment of it always comes as a surprise. His successor, whom he named before he died, the vice president Nicolás Maduro, almost certainly will lead the government forces in the campaign, the election rather, which is supposed to take place within 30 days of Chavez's death. Opposing Maduro, again, almost certainly, will be the man who lost in the October presidential elections, Enrique Capriles. Now, the problem is, Chavez was an enormously charismatic, populist leader. You can't have Chavismo, the name of his movement, without that leader. Maduro is a fairly dull public presence. The option is the head of the Congress, a man named Diosdado Cabello. He's not much better. In other words, the government is without a significant leader. Is the fact that it holds control over the public media, it's got a lot of money to spend in the campaign, sufficient to win the election for Mr. Maduro? We don't know. Now, the problem for Venezuela in the short term really deals with two major issues. Chavez was not a very good manager. The economy is in very bad shape. Venezuela has the highest inflation rate in the hemisphere. There has been no major investment in the national oil company, which is the source of virtually all of the government's revenue. That revenue has been flat for the last 2 years and is not likely to go up without some significant investment. But since Chavez was so nationalistic and he was so hostile to foreign investors, no one wanted to invest any money. In fact, there's a suit now between ExxonMobil, one of the previous investors in the Venezuelan oil sector, and the government of Venezuela trying to recover several hundreds of millions of dollars in what the company claims is owed to them. So the problem of investment in PDVSA, as it's called, the national oil company, is a very serious one. And how to bring down inflation is not easy. The other major problem that the new government will face, whether it's Maduro governing as a Bolivarian or Mr. Capriles, who is trying to bring a more democratic, open democratic form of government back to Venezuela, the second most significant problem that any government will face is the level of violence. Venezuela has become the most violent country in terms of crime in all of Latin America. And the level of violence and homicide in Caracas, the capital city, has reached levels of historic proportions. It's odd that such a popular government, Mr. Chavez, could not deal with the issue of public crime. And any new government is going to have to confront that, and it's going to be particularly difficult for Mr. Maduro in order to put more police on the street and try to clean up the notoriously corrupt prison system. So Venezuela will be difficult to govern in the next year, no matter who wins the presidential election.